we're seeing almost two separate kind of music halls going on. One is that, the scientists and many of the campaigners and many of those involved saying, look, these are now the facts. This is what's happening to our climate. And yet within politics, it seems to be either being downplayed in some cases, and this isn't just about the Conservative Party, even our other political parties don't seem to be putting climate change in the shop window as something we really need to be getting on with. They don't seem to be making the case that, this could, there might be a little bit of pain in this, but this is why we need to do it. We don't seem to be seeing that. And just briefly away from politics, we've just had the announcement today about FIFA having the next World Cup on both sides of the Atlantic. I'm sorry for folks like me, that's just a bit jaw-dropping. Have they not heard of climate change, you wonder? People batting back and forth in planes across the sea?
It does seem bizarre, that policy announcement. I'm interested if we just dive in a little bit more on this recent change in policy from the Conservatives towards the climate as a whole. Because as you said here, this chart is unbelievably stark of rising global temperatures. It would almost suggest you have to double down on policies. So I'm just interested on your perspective, because I guess Rishi Sunak and the government would make 2 points. One is we've already made a lot of good progress, and I wonder if you would disagree with that. And the other would be that he's still committed to net 50 in 2050, and that this is a sort of rationalisation of his policy, not a sea change or step backwards. Do you accept those points or not?
Not terribly. The first point, yes, it is true. We have done quite a lot to reduce our carbon emissions, particularly from electricity and overall. But that is partly because we've moved a lot of our manufacturing, which is a very energy-intensive business, over to China and other places across the world. So some of those big power demands we've moved elsewhere. People say we're, in effect, importing the climate change impact. We're offshoring it from our own place. So yes, there has been some progress, but not as much as we would like. On the second point, I just don't really get this. He himself said, climate change is important. Rishi Sunak, said it's important, it's urgent. But yet we can delay doing something about it till a little later. Now, he made it fairly clear that this was because he thinks the political pain at the moment actually risks turning people off the case for policy and behavioural change to fight climate change. But it seems to me kind of the signal he's saying to people is, you don't have to worry about that bit of pain yet, be it, higher electricity bills or switching to heat pumps or changing your vehicle. We can do that a little bit later. I don't think many climate scientists would share that view.
Really fascinating, Tom. And I know everyone can listen to more of your sorts of analysis in the Climate Show coming out. Although I'm interested because I didn't know what you brought on, a brick of some description. I didn't know if you were going to hit me over the head if I didn't ask the right questions. What is this exactly? It's not quite a brick, is it?
This looks like something for a sort of industrial bake-off, doesn't it? This is part of the secret to solving one of the real problems we have in decarbonising our energy. This is an element of what's called a heat battery. You'll be familiar with normal batteries and how important they are for renewable energy. When we have too much electricity, we can store it in a battery and use it when the sun don't shine and the wind don't blow. Over half of our energy is actually about heat. This is about using spare electricity to heat something up. In this case, a block of this, about 1.5 tons. And when we need the heat, we can then draw it off. It's cheaper to make than an electric battery.
What's it
made? It's made out of basalt and molten aluminium. And I actually made this one myself. I had to dress up in something that looked like I was about to approach the sun. But I did pour the molten aluminium onto this. I didn't do as good a job as the professionals. It shouldn't look quite as speckled as this at the back. It should look better mixed. But this was my first stab at making a heat battery. See more this weekend.
I think it looks great and it sounds great, and I do look forward to learning more about this. Tom, as always, thanks so much, Tom Heap, and you can tune in to the Climate Show with Tom Heap Saturday and Sunday, 3:30 and 7:30 p.m. Make sure to tune in. Staying with climate change, and there's stark evidence today of the effect of global warming. In northeast India, at least 14 people have been killed and more than 100 are missing after flash floods caused when a glacial lake burst its banks. The water swamped several towns, washed away a bridge and submerged army camps. Now, baby banks across the country are warning of increasing and unsustainable levels of demand for formula milk amid fresh concern about shortages. Many have been forced to ration how much they give out to families as parents struggle to cope with the rising cost of living. 300 baby banks have now formed an alliance to try to put pressure on the government and push for meaningful change. Sky's Tom Parmenter has this report.
I'm thinking we might be quite busy this week.
If you can, leave your prams and pushchairs upstairs, it makes it quicker. Welcome to Grow Baby.
We pray for the formula for the wipes.
At this church in Swindon, they pray for formula milk because they know there isn't enough for everyone in the queue. The fairest thing to do now is to ration it.
When that table behind you empties out, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, great, what will I say to the next family that comes in desperately in need of formula? And I have to say, I'm so sorry, we've just run out. What happens to them then?
And that's every week, that conversation.
That's every week, yeah.
It's like she's 4 months, nearly 5 months now.
Ivy's mum, Kayla, can't quite believe she's at the church baby bank. She's on maternity leave from her job. Her partner works, but they still struggle to keep up with the cost of formula.
Literally a milk crisis. It makes me feel so angry and irritated that parents are forced to feel ashamed that they can't afford milk for their babies and that the government aren't listening. They're not doing anything.
What would you say to someone who is in a position to make a difference with this?
Help. Please help. Don't sit there and judge and look and ponder. Just do it. It's as simple as that.
In Scotland, they are examining whether struggling families can be given cash to help out. But in the rest of the UK, there's little change.
We do cover Newcastle, but by far our biggest areas are Gateshead and Sunderland and South Tyneside.
In the northeast of England, we were invited to join the first meeting of a new movement, the Baby Bank Alliance.
These people aren't a number. These are families, these are children.
Their aim is to bring together 300 baby banks across the nation who are facing unprecedented demand.
It feels quite fragile, the whole safety net that you all provide.
Yeah, it is. By working with the Alliance, and one of the things I'm hoping to get from this is taking it further, taking it to the policy makers, the decision makers, because when the prevention happens, you'll see a change in the community in terms of the response that's needed.
The Westminster government insists they are providing significant support to families, but the UK's baby banks and the parents they're trying to help would disagree. Tom Parmenter, Sky News.
Well, Tom's got the latest now from High Peak Baby Bank in Buxton in Derbyshire.
Well, this is an example of yet another baby bank that is having to ration the formula that they can give to the growing numbers of families who will be outside the door this morning, as they are many weekday mornings. We're at the High Peak Baby Bank in Buxton in Derbyshire. They're having to expand their services. Kirsty Jackson is the lady who runs this place. And Kirsty, this is a growing issue that you're seeing. And we can see next to you here, this is your stock of baby formula that you know will be in big demand yet again today.
It will. We're finding that we've had to open 3 more branches just to cover the need of the areas local to us.
And those conversations that you have to have with families to say, we've not got what you need, how difficult is that?
It's very difficult, and we're really lucky that a lot of our volunteers are in a similar circumstance, so they feel the way that those people coming to us do. We meet everything with a lot of sympathy and dignity, and everything is always purely confidential, but there is always going to be that stigma of people feeling guilty not being able to feed their children.
Okay, Kirsty, thanks for talking to us this morning. Good luck with your day ahead. And that is a picture that is replicated in so many baby banks across the country. They are demanding government action, but so far, while there are moves in Scotland to make efforts to look at solutions, the rest of the UK has seen very little change.
Tom Parmenter there. The former cricket star Andrew Flintoff has spoken publicly for the first time since he was seriously injured in a crash while filming Top Gear. The sports star and presenter revealed he's been through what he described as the hardest time of his life. He was talking as he awarded an England cap to spin bowler Tom Hartley.
It changes your life. It's one of them things that's before and after it. This enables you to walk taller, move faster, play with passion, play with pride, play with belief, and also part of a family of people that they'll share the good times with you, the successes. But as I found over the past few months, you'll be there in the hardest times of your lives that will stand next to you.
We're joined now by our correspondent Ivor Bennett. And Ivor, of course, it comes just before the Cricket World Cup kicks off. And also with, I guess it seems like a bit of a change, a pivot back in career for Flintoff. He's been much more involved again on the cricketing side.
Yeah, the last 2 months he's been part of the England cricket coaching setup. He's not part of the coaching setup for the World Cup, which has actually just begun about an hour ago or so with England playing New Zealand. But this is the first time we've seen him speak publicly about this accident he had back in December. It wasn't a very long clip, a very clear reference to his recovery from this accident, which he referred to as the hardest time of his life. So this image of Andrew Flintoff, better known as Freddie Flintoff. This was taken at the beginning of September when he again became part of this cricket coaching setup. As you can see, he still has some quite clear injuries on his face. These were sustained in this accident that happened back in December. So the fact that they're still evident a full 9 months on from when the accident happened shows you just how serious it was. He also sustained several cracked ribs, broken ribs. He had to be airlifted to hospital. So it was clearly a very serious accident. We didn't get many details. Since then, he's kept a pretty low profile. And this video really explains why, I think, because it shows just how hard it's been for him. In the video, he also referred to the support he got from the England cricketing family, helping him get back on his feet. And it seems like he's fighting fit again. It's good to see that.
Ivor Bennett, thanks so much for that, and good luck to England as the World Cup indeed kicks off. I thought it was in a few hours, but it's not. It started. Some of today's other news now. Rapper Stormzy has joined thousands of mourners in South London to honour the life of 15-year-old stabbing victim Eliane Andan. The grime artist was seen among crowds at a candlelit vigil in Croydon, where the teenager was fatally wounded while on her way to school. Voters are heading to the polls today for a by-election in Scotland. The ballot in Rutherglen and Hamilton West was triggered after constituents voted to oust the former SNP MP Margaret Ferrier, who breached COVID rules in 2020. Polling stations opened at 7 a.m. and will close at 10 p.m. Eurostar staff are on alert due to a bedbug infestation in Paris. The invasive insects have been spotted in homes, cinemas, hospitals and trains. Although one government minister has insisted there is no outbreak on Paris's public transport network. The Prime Minister is set to call for more coordinated action across Europe to tackle the rising migration crisis. Rishi Sunak is attending a summit of leaders in Spain today, where politicians are gathering to discuss new ways to tighten borders. Our political correspondent, Mari Aurora, has more for us from Westminster. And Mari, just to give us as well a bit of context, exactly what this gathering of leaders is that he's attending.
Yeah, Wilfred, so this gathering today in Spain between European leaders is all about Rishi Sunak wanting to make sure that migration is very much front and centre of the political agenda, especially going into the Labour Party conference starting on Sunday. They feel that the Labour Party is weak on immigration and they can bring that fight to Labour. So Prime Minister today, he's going to be at the European Political Community Summit, as you say, in Spain. We are expecting an announcement from the Prime Minister later today, because there are going to be an announcement of bilateral cooperation and bilateral initiatives between the UK and Belgium, Serbia and also Bulgaria as well. And that's all about intelligence sharing and having enhanced cooperation to try and essentially break up the business model of people smuggling gangs, smuggling people not just to the UK but all over Europe as well. Also, the Prime Minister is going to be co-chairing a small group meeting with the Italian Prime Minister Meloni, and that's all about he's going to be calling for more and tighter cooperation and coordinated action action on illegal migration. Now, speaking to Downing Street, the Prime Minister feels it's an opportunity to talk about illegal migration. We saw some quite headline-grabbing speeches at the Tory party conference about immigration. Not to mention Suella Braverman's speeches about immigration, such as the rhetoric around a hurricane of migrants coming to the UK. That upset a lot of Tory MPs. But I think Sunak feels that actually now is the time to be bringing this topic back into the forefront after the HS2 announcement yesterday. He wants to be back on the front foot and trying to put Keir Starmer back on the back foot. I think the Tory party feel that actually this could open up a can of worms for the Labour Party if they want to closen ties with Europe when it comes to their stance on European Union and Brexit, considering that as far as Downing Street is concerned, the Windsor Framework has already thawed relations with Europe, and therefore relations are already warmer and better because of Rishi Sunak's Windsor Framework.
Thanks so much, Mari Aurora, there for us in Westminster. Now, Mari mentioned the European Political Summit in Spain that the Prime Minister's attending. We also, in fact, have some pictures of President Zelensky of Ukraine just arriving for the summit moments ago. Let's bring in our defence and security analyst, Professor Michael Clark, who's here with me on set. And Michael, so Zelensky's here for this summit, and what's he hoping to get from it? Because his most recent trip to the US perhaps was less successful than he hoped.
Yes, and I mean, he needs to actually keep reinforcing the sort of sense of commitment from the European allies. I mean, this is only the third European political community meeting. It was thought to be a bit of a talking shop. This one might turn out to be very important, not just because of migration, but also the Ukraine war that they're talking about. And Zelensky, I mean, he's obviously must be worried about what's happened in Slovakia, the rows with Poland, Orban of Hungary. You've got three European states there who, all for different reasons, look as if they're having problems keeping the consensus alive or keeping the consensus vigorous on helping Ukraine. And of course, he's worried about what's happening in America. Now, that's all on hold for a week because of the problems in Congress. So it's interesting that he's there in person. Very often he does a video link to these things. He's there in person because he wants to reinforce the commitment that he needs to keep alive from the European powers.
The American stuff might be on hold for more than a week as well. We'll have to keep an eye on developments in Congress. But in the shorter term, he's also said at this conference, as he approaches the conference, he wants to pay special attention to the Black Sea region. Why has he said that?
Yeah, Black Sea is at the moment the most vigorous part of the battlefront. I mean, the battle's going on all through the front. But the Black Sea is important because the Russians have moved a lot of their fleet out of Sevastopol, which is on the southwest tip of Crimea, back to Novorossiysk, which is the port inside Russia itself on the eastern part of the Black Sea. There are a lot of reports that the Russians have started sea mining, probably from submarines, in the western part of the Black Sea. And what the Ukrainians are trying to do is to keep a corridor open from Odessa, which is where their grain leaves. They want to get it to the Bosphorus, out to the world markets. And they've created a corridor of about 100 miles along the coast, down the coast of Romania, that they're trying to keep safe. Because it's all about insurance. It's all about convincing ship owners that it's safe, that they can get insurance to run their grain ships up and down that corridor. The Russians are trying to make it unsafe. But at the moment, the Ukrainians have actually made the Black Sea more or less a no-go area for the western part of the Black Sea, for the Russia's Black Sea fleet. And then meanwhile, the Ukrainians, just to keep making the point that Crimea is vulnerable, they landed at Tarkantut, which is that very western tip of Crimea itself. They landed at Tarkantut in some submersibles and some sort of little motorboats and planted the flag. It was a rather foolish thing to do, and they may have taken some losses, but they just made their point. They put a flag up on Crimea to indicate that Crimea is vulnerable to their action. So there's a lot going on at the moment.
Michael, for now, thanks so much. Lots more still to come here on Sky News today. Staging a protest in London's West End. Just Stop Oil disrupt a performance of Les Mis during the Best Song as well. We talked to one of the last British home children survivors in Canada about his dying wish, and the competition regulators to investigate the dominance of Amazon and Microsoft in the UK's cloud computing market. We'll have that for you too.
The economy.
Health. Security.
Education.
Immigration.
Stability.
Cost of living. Our futures.
Whatever the issues facing you, we want to find out what's really going on in the UK. We will always put people at the heart of the story on the UK Tonight with me, Sarah Jane Mee, on Sky News.
They pushed the protesters further back here. There's around 200 or 300 still remaining.
I'm Dan Whitehead and I'm Sky News' West of England correspondent.
This van goes onto the streets of Plymouth 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
These facilities at the moment are a lifesaver. It's all we've got.
From fishing communities to bustling cities, we spend every day reporting from across the region, hearing from people who have real stories.
I'm going to have nowhere to live for about 3 or 4 months.
There are still people inside the properties here. They're coming from the epicentre of what is now a global health pandemic.
We were seeing and speaking to young women who were selling themselves right on the high street. It was desperately sad, and the fact it was happening right in the heart of this community. Before Brexit, these oysters were being exported to the EU, but the trade stopped overnight. What's your feeling about the future then?
Blake might all be finished, I don't know.
Welcome back. 5 people have been arrested after Just Stop Oil protesters stopped the show at Les Miserables in London's West End last night. They stormed the stage during the song Do You Hear the People Sing? Were met with boos from the audience when they tried to address the watching crowd. The activists then locked themselves to the set, which led to the evacuation of the theatre. Sky's Sabah Chowdhury has this report for us.
Les Miserables had a miserable ending. Just Stop Oil disrupting the famous West End production about revolution. 4 activists stormed the stage with their banners moments before the interval at the climax of One Day More, a song about hope in the face of adversity. But what came next was far from hopeful. The protesters went on to lock themselves to the set using bike locks. The show was inevitably stopped and the audience were evacuated from the Sondheim Theatre. Unlucky for fans, some paying hefty amounts to see the iconic show.
For me, it was a little bit disappointing because I was really waiting for this show. In the middle of the song about revolution, in the middle of the protest, we got an actual protest. I think it's brilliant.
The theatrics, however, came with a serious message. One of the protesters has said in a statement, Rishi Sunak's just approved Rosebank, a new oil project in the North Sea. It will lead to hundreds of thousands of deaths due to starvation as crops fail in the increasingly extreme weather conditions. It goes on to say, am I not like Jean Valjean, that's the play's protagonist, justified in breaking the law to oppose this criminal government and its murderous policies? So far, 5 people have been arrested. And while the theatre says it supports freedom of expression, it stresses not at the expense of their customers. Sabah Chowdhury, Sky News.
We are going to have a quick look at the weather now.
Warm memories wherever you go. The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
The weekend looks unseasonably warm, but the next couple of days will be cooler with rain in the northwest. It'll be rather cloudy this afternoon with outbreaks of rain, but South Wales and central and southern England look dry. Expect some limited brightness there. The wind will pick up too, with coastal gales developing near the Irish Sea. The rain will largely clear eastwards later, but will linger across northern England and northern and western Scotland. The south of Ireland, along with much of Wales, can expect some showery outbreaks too.
The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
You're watching Sky News today. Up next, cloud services in the spotlight, I should clarify. Cloud computing services. Amazon and Microsoft to be investigated by the CMA. We'll have the details, and we'll also be talking to former British spy and head of the Russia desk, Christopher Steele. We'll be right back.
The family, the Christian community, friends and loved ones of the late Apostle Mark Nyaku and Mrs. Victoria Nyaku wishes to invite friends and loved ones and all sympathizers to a one-week observation at the Numa Christian Center, 87 Beddington Lane, Croydon, postcode CR0 40D. The event will take place on Friday, the 6th of October, 2023 from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Buses 466 and 463 ply that route. And if you want to travel on a tram, Beddington Lane is a stop for you. Also, there's going to be free parking there. For further information, please contact Evelyn on 075-5483-8421, Kojo 073-7592-8737, or Sheila on 079-8358-1818. Come and mourn with us, even as we celebrate the lives of the late Apostle Mark Nyaku and Mrs. Victoria Nyaku. God bless you and see you all there. The family, the Christian community, friends and loved ones of the late Apostle Mark Nyaku and Mrs. Victoria Nyaku wishes to invite friends and loved ones and all sympathizers to a one-week observation at the Numa Christian Center, 87 Beddington Lane, Croydon, postcode CR0 40D. The event will take place on Friday, the 6th of October, 2023 from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Buses 466 and 463 ply that route. And if you want to travel on a tram, Beddington Lane is a stop for you. Also, there's going to be free parking there. For further information, please contact Evelyn on 075-5483-8421, Kojo 073-7592-8737, or Sheila on 079-8358-1818. Come and mourn with us, even as we celebrate the lives of the late Apostle Mark Nyaku and Mrs. Victoria Nyaku. God bless you and see you all there.
Global Real Estate Wealth Summit with Dr. Olumide Emmanuel will be happening live in October in a city of the United Kingdom. It will be an event like none other. One day, 8 speakers, 10 sessions. Date Saturday, 14th October 2023. Register now to qualify for the 30% discount offer. Visit www.olumideemmanuel.org/GrewUK to register or call the hotlines 074-231-55486 or 020-322-30800.
You can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app just enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prampram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prampram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do that?
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. Of darkness. So What did that? Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019,
forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Global Real Estate Wealth Summit with Dr. Olumide Emmanuel will be happening live in October in a city of the United Kingdom. It will be an event like none other. 1 day, 8 speakers, 10 sessions. Date, Saturday 14th October 2023. Register now to qualify for the 30% discount offer. Visit www.olumideemmanuel.org/GrewUK to register or call the hotlines 074-231-55486 or 020-322-30800.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
Are you ready to turn it up?
This is Starr Radio UK.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. I want to salute each and every one of you and say welcome to the Thursday edition of the morning show. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Today is the 5th day of October the year 2023, with the time now 10:46 from the hearts of London. So from now to 12:30, when the curtains are brought down for the end of the program, I'm going to be your compere or your captain or whatever you want to call me. But I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning show with Archie.
Well, don't you worry about my tune. It looks like it's the sound is like some Jolomi sound, but hey, whatever it is, just take it easy, just enjoy it like that. I will bring you some lovely tunes during the course of the program, though. But let me say good morning to my team this morning, Mr. Olayomi, Koiki, Mr. Francis Gayi, and then Felix all the way in Aberdeen, massive good morning to you. Mr. Frank Davidson Town, good morning to you. Kojo D, good morning to you. KB Bossman, good morning to you. Vicky, I hope you are doing very well as well. Okay, and let me also say good morning to the one and only Bishop Adeshina. Anthony Adedeji, good morning. Aziz, good morning. Shamsuddin, good morning to you. Reverend Michael Esiama, good morning. And let me also say good morning to Aziz Olakunle, Sir Maxwell, wherever you all are this morning. Thank you very much for joining in on the morning show, the Thursday edition. Well, as I do say all the time, from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar, if it's making headlines, we're going to be touching on it. And therefore, make your dial still logged on or leave your dials logged on. Starr Radio UK whilst we bring you all this program. We'll be broadcasting live on we are broadcasting live on all the social media platforms. Name it, and we are there. But once again, welcome. Let's move it. Let me put it this way, all protocol observed, of course. So I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast will follow you, then the travel update as well. We'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. It's not a global trotting. Then after that, we'll look at some of the stories making the rounds from Nigeria. Now, the question has been on the Niger Voices yesterday, should the president resign after that tumultuous release of his Chicago University, my apostle would say, the mom says, certificate. Now, with the release of that certificate, do you think that, well, that is a lie? He's been lying. He forged. It's forgery, and therefore, forgery is a perjury. Well. But when it comes to Africa, anything of that sort never brings anybody down. But hey, let's see what is going to happen there. What the Yoruba said, hey, this is our own. I see this say. How did he put it? It is my 10. It is my 10. Or it is our 10. So if it is our 10, that's the one that we've got. So we all have to stick to it. Or we say that no, if you lied, then that means that one thing wouldn't you lie about? Or if you are a worker, and then your bosses say, bring your transcript, let's see, and then you forge it, what do you think is going to happen to you? Well, listen, let's start ready. Okay, so I'll be telling you more about the ups and downs of the Tinubu's release of his certificate by the Chicago University. And we continue from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds from across the globe, from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar, as I say it all the time. It's making the headlines. Why not? We're going to touch on it. Then at 12 o'clock, the lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussions. At 12:30, the curtains are brought down for the end of the program. So wherever you are, once again, welcome to the show. Don't touch the dial. Let's crack on. The quote for the day says, you need to have both feet on the ground to take the actions that will make every aspect of your life very successful, because the seeds of greatness are in you. Yes, so don't put yourself down, and I'll bring you that lovely tune, Broken Pencils, during the course of the program. Let's move on straight to the weather forecast. For those of you in London and the southeast of England, this is how the weather is going to be for you today. Another largely dry afternoon, variable amounts of cloud and some bright spells expected as well. A gentle southwesterly breeze expected. Tonight will remain partly cloudy with occasional clear spells. This more frequent towards dawn. It should be generally dry, but the odd shower or spot of rain cannot be ruled out. Total temperature 19 degrees, the lowest 12 degrees, UV level moderate pollution, low sunset 18:30, sunrise for tomorrow morning 07:07 hours. That brings us to the end of the weather forecast, and let me take you straight to the travels as well. So on the travel this morning, on the major roads in London, apart from the A4 that's got serious delays, all the others are running, no exceptional delays. And when it comes to the underground this morning as well, Piccadilly line is the only one suffering a minor delay there, but that aside, all the others good service. The river bus this morning is also running a good service, apart from the Woolwich ferry that's got reduced service there. And that brings us straight to the final segment of the travel update, that is the National Rail. Now, for the sake of time, so I'm going to bring you the ones that are running smoothly. So those that are not mentioned, you got it. Not running smoothly, there might be minor or special services there. Now, Avanti West Coast, First Haul Trains, Grand Central, Great Western Railway, Heathrow Express, Lumo Merseyrail, Transport for Wales, West Midlands trains are all running good service. All the others is either minor or special, minor delays or special services on them. So check before you leave. But let me say it once again. Say it loud. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo 1. tune in every day, every night at the Star Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say order, you say fire.
Okay, welcome back to the program Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now 7 minutes to 11 the time. We go global trotting because we're running behind schedule for about 3 minutes. But hey, we'll catch up, won't we? Yes, we are. Yes, definitely we're gonna catch up. Okay. So, what's happening? When it comes to Nigeria this morning, significant controversy. Tell Tinubu to vacate office. Ex-APC chieftain tells US, EU, and ECOWAS. Okay, this one is in-house. All right then. Imo governorship, APC stakeholders chide OT over quit notice to Uzodinma, and the court martial declares Major General guilty of $1.476 million theft. Now, court remand Naira Marley, Sam Larry over Mohbad's death. What hands have they got? What role did they play in his death? But well, as we are saying, it is something that has got to do with them. They had any role to play in there. We want justice to prevail, but justice, not any underhand dealings there. The federal government to cut waiting times for passport, review visas on arrival policy, and Nigeria Kuta free trade zone to attract FDIS. Now, reps pledge to secure Mohbad's compensation royalties, and that's what they are saying. NRC suspends staff for collecting fares from passengers without tickets. Of course, we need some discipline, right? Yes. Now, judgment, public opinion cannot supersede constitution. The CJN Ariwola is saying. So, what is the CJN saying about that? He said, judgment, when it comes to public opinion, what the public are thinking, it says that does not supersede constitution. Isn't the reason why our leaders never want to change the constitution or amend the constitution? Why? Because they say, well, it is the constitution. Why is the president doing that? It is the constitution. Why is that happening? It is the constitution. Meanwhile, we can adjust the constitution so that it suits our present predicament or situation that we find ourselves in. But we wouldn't do that. well, listeners, it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's move on straight to some other stories making the round on the African continent. Gunmen kidnapped 5 Nigerian university students. That's what the police are saying. Kidnappings for ransom by armed groups are widespread in northwest Nigeria due to high levels of poverty, unemployment, and proliferation. And in Mali, army and rebels move closer to a crucial deal or talk there. We'll be telling you more about that. Maybe in Georgia, as we say, it's God going to do it. Now, a French opposition leader calls on Paris to turn the page on arrogance as he visits Morocco. And in Senegal, Osman Sonko's lawyers launch appeal at Supreme Court. What did they want? Did they want him out? Well, since Sassoon Gueso plane sold at auction for 7.1 million euros, I did say that yesterday. And South Africa's cabinet minister and 3 other lawmakers have been cleared. Cleared by who? Is it a clearing agent like we have in Ghana? Well. Now, when it comes to other stories making the rounds in Ghana as well, some of the stories making the round this time round pertaining to. Yes, this pertains to patients who are appealing for support from government to pay bills. There was a dialysis for the dialysis crisis. The teenage patient who appealed for support from government to pay bills passes on. The government did not. I mean, if your system is working very well, you're talking about the fact that 60.8 billion Ghana cedis, how it's been mismanaged. How was it mismanaged? Did the government loan it? Did they use it to put up a building? Well, all like Nigerians would say, maybe some snake came around and swallowed the whole thing. What do you think about all that? We'll be telling you more about it. It's all coming away from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Former majority leader Felix Ofosu Owusu Ejepong has died aged 79. A minority protest completely unnecessary. I won't resign, says who? The governor of the Bank of Ghana. The arrogance, his arrogance offends me. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has stated that he will not resign from his position following the demands of the minority NDC caucus. On Tuesday, October 3, the opposition MPs led a mammoth demonstration in Accra to demand the resignation of the central bank governor and his deputies for mismanaging the bank. But according to an international business website, Central Banking, Dr. Addison says he won't resign. Well, who is supporting him or who is giving him the cover for him to be saying those things? We'll tell you more about all that during the course of the program. Your response to Occupy Bank of Ghana demo, disrespectful, Lord Mensah tells Addison, as I'm saying here, but more going to be coming your way. 2024 polls will be scary if you touch Dampare, Prophet Odro to Parliament. Well. Everybody's threatening in one way or the other. When it comes to other parts of the world as well, now Biden approves border walls as Mexico crossing rises. Now, building a border wall was a signature policy of Donald Trump and fiercely opposed by the Democrats. But it looks like now it's gotten to a point where Biden thinks, or the Democrats think, that look, the only way forward is to erect those walls. So those walls are going to be going up, says Joe Biden, and maybe that will appease those who are opposed to migrants coming in. But the question, once again, is what foreign policies do we have, and how is it impacting our neighbors or the world as a whole that is causing people to now flee their own country? Ask yourself the question. Who will want to travel on all those, those places, the desert, how people lose their lives. They travel all this distance not having water. Maybe they run out of water and some die of thirst. Some have to drink their own urine. That's how bad it is. So who won't put themselves there? So there's a push factor and there's a pull factor. But one of the factors is, what foreign policies do these advanced countries unleash? And those are the things that are causing people to run. But like the Home Secretary, they say here, he said, well, we saw what was happening was like a small breeze. Well, at the time that her family came to this part of the world, came to the UK, it was just like a tiny breeze that was flowing. But now we're going to be seeing a one-ton storm of migrants coming in. Well. You ask yourself the question, why was Gaddafi overthrown? Why was Saddam Hussein overthrown? Now, weren't they keeping things together? But as I do say all the time, players love you when you are playing. The moment you stop playing, boy oh boy, the moment you start saying that I'm a big man and I can do things by myself, they come after you. And that's exactly what is happening. But our leaders, African leaders, who are not thinking, they don't put their thinking caps on, and all that they are doing is me, myself, and I. So if it's affecting them, they got to do something about it. If not, no, they think they have the best with them. But if majority of the people are not enjoying or seeing an improvement in their lives, boy oh boy, then you need to come back to me. But this is Starr Radio UK. Rishi Sunak defends his plan to phase out smoking. That one I'll give him thumbs up. Somebody say because you don't smoke or you are anti-smoking, so that's why you're doing so. But well, those are some of the stories making the rounds there. And Metro Bank shares plunge on fundraising reports. The bank shares sink 23% in early trading after several newspapers report it needed £600 million. Boy. Amazon and Microsoft to face cloud computing probe. The competition watchdog is investigating the tech giants' cloud computing dominance there as well. And 5 people have been arrested after Jet Stop Oil disrupted Les Miserables. Now, if you want to protest, why don't you go to the Conservatives were having their conference in Manchester? Why didn't they go there? Why don't they go to number 10 Downing Street to go and protest? Now, why do you go to a place where people, after all their stress, decide, let's go and sit down, let's have some entertainment, and you say they go there? Boy, I rest my case. But let's take this commercial break. We come back, and I'm going to be bringing you the song that I promised you. Broken pencil, still rise. Keep on writing. Stay tuned. Don't you go away.
The Global Real Estate Wealth Summit with Dr. Olumide Emmanuel will be happening live in October in a city of the United Kingdom. It will be an event like none other. 1 day, 8 speakers, 10 sessions. Date, Saturday 14th October 2023. Register now to qualify for the 30% discount offer. Visit www.olumideemmanuel.org/GrewUK to register or call the hotlines 074-231-55486 or 020-322-30800.
To the broken. Don't get discouraged. I see you fighting all the demons in your life that have wreaked heavy carnage. I know you think that your dreams and everything that you...
Okay, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, don't you worry, I'm going to bring you the full end of that tune in a moment. But at the moment, we've got Mr. Olayomi Koiki, my colleague and co-presenter, who has joined in all the way from our North London studios. Let me move a bit and let me see. It looks like your image is frozen. But you know what? It's going to bring you everything that you need to know when it comes to the news that is making the rounds from Nigeria this morning. So let me say good morning to you, Yomi. How are you doing, sir?
Hello, good morning. Back in the studio, Mr. Archie. Good morning, Frank, and good morning to all our listeners and viewers from around the world. Okay. Yes, his image is active now. How are you and how is the family? That is very important to us every day. We need to know that. Yeah, the family are doing very well. We're grateful. And it's good to be back as well.
Yes, nice to have you back once again. Before we crack on for today's stories that is making the rounds, when you go to all the international media, I mean, everyone is having a go at the president per his release, the release of his his certificate. Now, we know that was the top discussion yesterday on the Niger Voices. So, for the sake of those who were not able to join in, as we normally would do, can you bring us a sneak view of what was discussed on the Niger Voices yesterday? Over to you, sir.
Yeah, it was a full-packed program again yesterday, as we do every Wednesday. But we couldn't get a full information of many of our viewers to accept either in the interest of the president. Many have the opinion that if the president was to resign, the country must break. And while some say the right thing to do is to resign, but like I said, the opinion view were very, very different. But one thing is, this certificate controversy will go a very long way in the history of the image of Nigeria itself. Many Nigerians, would have, some kind of backlash in the future for what, transpired, as you can say. But unfortunately, yesterday, the conclusion was whether the Supreme Court we should wait for to give his own verdict. But as we speak today, that is still a situation that many ask, how did we get to a situation that, the qualification of the most important number one citizen is now being questioned around the world as we see. Videos I've listened to different analyses on this particular case, but like I said, the President Bola Tinubu meets the constitutional qualifications for president, but focus shift to INEC diploma. Let us disown by the CSU. So there's quite a lot, that was discussed yesterday, and all this can be watched on those that missed the program on the Niger Voices yesterday.
Well, listeners, that is Mr. Olayomi Koiki for you, bringing you updates from Nigeria. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, now moving on to one of the stories pertaining to the president's certification and everything, which is we found out that it's a fraudulent one and everything, as per what the Chicago University has released. Now, the Chief Justice has made a statement, and I want people to listen to it very, very carefully. Now, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, has said that public opinion cannot supersede the Constitution in any judgment. He was warning judicial officers to remain impartial and not be swayed. Now, Ariwola disclosed this yesterday while administering oath on the 23 newly appointed judges of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Now, according to him, several vitriolic attacks are regularly heaped on judiciary. It is, however, crystal clear that public opinion, no matter how serious or weighty it might be, cannot override or supersede the Constitution of the country, which we applied in deciding each case. So now let me come, Anthony Ndeji, good morning to you. Let me come back to Yomi. Now, Yomi, with the statement that he has made, now what does the Constitution say about any person in leadership if they are found out to have lied, okay, or have faked something? So that is lie. That has given them the opportunity to become or to be where they are. What does the Constitution say about it? Do you know from the top of your head?
Well, looking at one of the headlines this morning, says Tinubu met the constitutional qualifications for president, but focus has now shifted to INEC diploma, disown the Chicago State University. This is actually coming from one of the headlines this morning. President Bola Tinubu certificate crisis. The eligibility questions to run for the office of the president does not appear an issue that will go away anytime soon, even after the Supreme Court must have made a pronouncement in the case, either for or against the matter as a life of its own. According to the recent deposition by the registrar by the Chicago State University, Calbel Wasberg, which thought confirmed that Tinubu was a graduate of the institution and added that the certificate he presented to the nation's electoral body, Independent National Electoral Commission INEC, did not generated from it might have set the tone for a new conversation altogether, which is what we're still discussing. Yet it appears that the debate has returned to the basic, which is the basic qualification for a person that is aspiring to become, the president of Nigeria, as part of the argument being advanced in the case. Section 131 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Section 131 of the Federal Republic of Nigeria says a person shall be qualified for election to be the office of the president if is a citizen of the Nigeria by birth, he has attained the age of 35, is a member of a political party, and also is sponsored by the political party. He has been educated up to at least certificate level or its equivalent. Although Tinubu's foundation education, the primary, the secondary, have not been excused from the scandal that had lasted over 2 decades. The assumption that he might have attended both is believed could enhance his case at the Supreme Court, which means that that might be used. Interestingly, Tinubu had told INEC in June 2022, preparatory to the 2023 general election, that he neither attended a primary or secondary school, and that the 2 university degrees he had were stolen by unknown soldiers while he was on exile abroad. Therefore, while the basic educational qualification of the primary or secondary school was missing, this seems the alternative for the former governor of Lagos State, which is the university degree, has been consumed by the unending controversy. And just to finish that up, to the extent that one thing the presidential candidate of the People's Party, People's Democratic Party, that is holding a press conference later on today, Atiku Abubakar, is taken within to the Supreme Court is the alleged forgery of the Chicago State University diploma certificate Tinubu submitted. So what he actually submitted was this. He hasn't submitted the basic that the former president Muhammadu Buhari used to get his own, to be sorted out, even though it took some time. But Section 137 of the Constitution states that a person shall not be qualified for election to the office of the president if he has been presented a forged certificate to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Also, Atiku had in his application for an order of mandamus compelling the CSU to release this information regarding Tinubu's record, argued that Section 137 of the Nigerian Constitution, as amended in 2010, specifically stated that no one will be legitimately elected president of Nigeria if the person has presented a forged certificate to INEC. So you can now see that, Tinubu presented his Chicago certificate as against the basic, which is the WAEC. But Tinubu, despite claiming loss of his university degree, had last year attached what we now call the forged Chicago State University diploma, said to have been obtained in 1979 as part of his academic requirement for the office of the President of Nigeria. However, the university has said under oath that it did not issue that certificate.
Well, listeners to this Star Radio UK, it's interesting time all across the African continent, because this could be could make or unmake. But what do you think about it? Is perjury allowed in Nigeria? That's the question on the lips of people. In the UK, perjury is not allowed. And when I say perjury, what I mean by perjury is that, just for the sake of those who don't know, is an offense of willfully telling an untruth or making a misrepresentation under oath. So somebody will say that he's not done that under oath, but somebody will say, yes, he's done that under oath. Because for you to give that to the INEC means that, look, I swear that this is a certificate that I attained after going through these various institutions. But what do you think? Let us know what exactly you are thinking. And if should the courts decide that, well, what is done is perjury, and therefore that tantamounts to his resignation or being fired, what do the Yorubas think? Because like when it got to him doing that this election, he said that it was my turn. How did he say it? Emilokon, yes. So it is my turn. So he was saying that, well, all the Yorubas, it's our turn now. It's our turn to, have the reins of power. Now, do you think that the Yorubas will take it in good faith? Or what is going to happen? Yomi, what do you think about that?
The Nigerians, depending on what part of Nigeria you're from, especially in the Southwest, education is the very, very important part of the Yoruba people. And, these has literally brought what we called, a questionable individual, regarding his background, his qualification, and it has actually brought, what we can call a bit of stain to the southwest part of Nigeria that is well known, that has been, part of the most educated part of Nigerians as well. But unfortunately, Tinubu is not just the only one that has been dragged in this kind of mud. There are so many of those that have done the same thing, and yet the reason why Tinubu's issue is different today is because he has aspired to become, the #1 citizen. And could it be that Atiku that have saw Tinubu as, as a man that was following the late MK Abiola, probably carrying the bag, because as at the time, Atiku was contesting for the very first time. He was contesting with one of the most powerful individual, late Chief MK Abiola, and that literally sent a lot of signal that maybe, just maybe, Atiku would have seen Tinubu as at the time as just a young man but a young man can become also a man that can compete with him. Well, the question is, Tinubu, result has generated the most questionable individual that we've ever seen. It won't be the last, but I'm sure these will probably go away, as many believe that if Tinubu is removed, then what next? And if he's not removed, we just have to carry on with that bag of shame that the number one citizen has a lot of integrity that is questionable.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Your favorite time now, 18 minutes past 11. I'm Mr. Olayomi Koiki in North London studios. I'm Archie here in the South studios, and we are bringing you everything that you need to know pertaining to Nigeria. But before we end that Tinubu issue, there's been a statement that one of the APC, a former APC, shall I call him a chieftain or deputy chairman, has made, and let me try to bring that your way. The former Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressive Congress Party, Timmy Frank, has called on the European Union, the United States, the United Kingdom, the Economic Community of West African States, that's the ECOWAS, to prevail on President Bola Tinubu to vacate office over the controversy surrounding his certificate. In a statement on Wednesday, Frank alleged that Tinubu forged the certificate presented to the Independent National Electoral Commission, adding that he was constitutionally not fit to remain as president of Nigeria. Somebody says somebody from his own backyard making that statement. And how do you say it?
Well, as much as the EU saw the election itself was very, very biased, and nothing can be done. America gave their report, the UK gave their report. So I don't think this is, as much as is an internal affair. I mean, anyone can write to the EU. I mean, the Yoruba people have written to the ICC. The Biafra wrote to the European Union for interference into the exit of the Biafra, and I think I saw the statement back from them that is something not to be looked into. These are internal problems that will have to be dealt with by the Supreme Court, and whatever the outcome of the Supreme Court, the least Atiku would have to do, or Peter Obi would have to wait again for the next election and see if they can use that earlier in time rather than after the election, because it seems that they could have probably stopped all this before the election itself, but probably maybe they couldn't get hold of as much of this information. But now that this information is in the public domain, should the current President Tinubu survive this crisis or this scandal, could this have a big impact for the next time?
Well, could it or couldn't it? That's the question on the lips of most people. And would that shake the president? Would that move him? Or is he robust, strong enough to be able to withstand all this? Listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's move on. Economic crisis. States borrows 46 billion naira. Yes, it is 46. Yeah, 46 billion naira from banks to pay salaries. Now, Yomi, that is a serious thing, because if you don't have resources like in the southwest or in the southeast or some of the other areas, I'm not sure what resources, natural resources that they have, or the population, and therefore taxing them and stuff like that, and you go to the bank to go and get these loans to pay salaries, which is recurrent. So next week you pay, and next month you have to pay again, and you have to pay again. Where are they going to be getting the monies from? Especially now that even government is looking at increasing the wages across board.
I mean, the question is borrowing to pay salary is not the ideal way of running a country. You must be producing taxation, and then probably royalties is meant to be used to pay salary, but as it is in Nigeria, is the reverse in everything from what we are getting in the information. State government, remember that we have 36 states, 774 local government, and they've literally borrowed 46 billion naira from 3 banks to pay the salary between January up to June this year. I mean, we're saying that each of our state governors are borrowing money from the bank to pay the salaries, according to findings. These findings were based on the analysis of the half of the year 2023 from the financial statement of Access Bank, Fidelity Bank, and Zenith Bank Group. The question again is, we should know who is behind each of these banks that have now decided that they are the backup for the state, and what happened and what is the collateral that the state are putting up front to borrow such amount of money. Is it a guarantee that money that comes through from the revenue, the internal, the IGR from each of the state? Is it the money from the federal during the end of the month that comes through, and there will be a balance sheet? It's a very, very sad situation, but like I said, according to those findings, the state borrowed most from Access Bank in the 6 months with a total record of 42.97 billion naira in loan. It was followed by the Zenith Bank. 1.78 billion was borrowed by some of the state governors. Fidelity Bank also 1.42 billion within the 6 months till date June 2023. According to the half of the 2023 financial statement that was released, the outstanding balance on the salary bailout fund was to the tune of 58 billion from June 2023 up to December last year. The question now is, the bank noted that the federal government intervention fund from the CBN bailout fund of 80 billion between December last year was 82. Well, we would have to wait and see how the 6 months that the president have assured, the NLC and the TUC for adding extra to what is currently the payout for each of the wages to the tune of 35,000 naira. It's still a very long one, but the bank noted the salary bailout scheme was approved by the same federal government to assist the state. So maybe there might be some kind of arrangement between the federal and also the banks. Should the state unable to pay back the bank, the federal government will have to come in.
Okay, so we'll see what the federal government is going to do, and especially looking at how much money has been actually borrowed from the banks, 46 billion naira. I mean, eventually you are running the banks down. But well, let's see. Is the federal government going to be able to give them monies to do so? Olakunle, good morning to you. Long time. I hope you are doing very, very well. We thank God Nigeria has not happened to you. They say we shouldn't say that in Nigeria. We can say it here, right? Okay. Now let's move on straight to some of the other stories making the rounds. Now, those of us in the diaspora, especially you want to travel, you want to do things, we want to have dual citizenship and stuff like that. Now, you go to the Nigerian High Commission and you want to have your passport just like that. Okay? But the federal government has given 2 weeks timeline for personal passport issuance. Now, what changes have they put in place now? And do you think that is going to be something that we're going to be a reality? Yummy.
Well, the reality will determine by the time you apply for such a passport. I mean, I've been to the Nigerian embassy here, at some point in my 2 decades living in the UK, I've applied few times for the passport, and the process could be a little bit daunting, could be a little bit stressful, mostly for those that are coming from outside London that doesn't have relatives to stay with. And sometimes I've seen children, I've seen mothers crying bitterly. Well, if we are having the problem here in UK, the question then is, what about those back in Nigeria? It seems that the new Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, wants to do something different. I've been following him since he has been appointed. Maybe it's just the nature of our ministers to come in the very first 2-3 weeks, 3 months, they're banging there, and then later on everything goes quiet. But the ultimatum to make sure that Nigerians have their passport in 2 weeks. Well, he said while the procurement of the visa was a privilege, acquisition of a passport was the right of every Nigerian. Most that have Nigerians or diaspora that have other passport, if you have a British passport, you're likely to just stay in the house, submit the application, and then the passport will be delivered to your home address. That is not the situation in Nigeria, but the federal government yesterday have now said that 2 weeks timeline must be enough to issue the passport, saying the era when Nigerians waited for months to get their passport was over. We will have to wait and see from Nigerians both at home and the diaspora that are applying. As of yesterday, because of the nature of the job, we get a lot of different inquiries. An individual sent a message. There's been a kind of a slight mistake during the process of their application. They are already concerned ahead. I mean, they're living in the UK, London. They are already concerned because they don't know who to reach out to. I did make sure that I said, well, why not call the embassy? Well, that is if you get through to the Nigerian embassy in London. I pray may Nigeria not happen to you, where you will need them at a very, very important time, and you will probably get hold of them. But the minister, Tunji Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, announced this timeline yesterday while briefing the journalists. Before we can talk about the new passport, guess what? They have to clear, I'm talking about the Nigerian Immigration Services, NIS, have to clear a 204,000 backlog of the passport application. Remember that Nigeria doesn't have what it takes to produce the booklet itself. Maybe they might have to start talking to those companies or countries that are producing the booklet in the first place to start with.
So are they trying to say that it's the booklets that are scarce or is not printed on time and that is causing this? Is that what they're trying to say?
That has always been the major excuses that there is no booklet. But maybe there's a pressure in certain states. But if you go to the northern part of Nigeria, you might get the same passport the same day.
Oh, okay. Okay, I rest my case there. Listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. What's your concerns about that? We want you to tell us about what you think. Maybe it's a good venture. Let's give ourselves maybe a couple of months and we'll see how things pan out. Or maybe you think it's same old, just another day. What do you think about all that? Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios bringing you updates from Nigeria. A ministerial nominee has fainted and the journalists have died in Northern Assembly shuttle. What exactly took place there, Yomi?
Yeah, there was, the video eventually popped out, but the Senate President Akpabio asked, the video rolling to stop. During the ministerial nominee, remember that El Rufai, the former Kaduna State Governor, rejected President Tinubu offer to be part of his his ministerial cabinet, but he actually gave somebody for the president to work with. But yesterday, during the proceeding at the Senate floor, the Red Chamber, the ministerial nominee faint. I'm not too sure why. Anyone could faint depending on whatever is wrong with you, but we don't have those details. But there was another journalist that died as well, according to the report coming this morning. The Senate on Wednesday have now confirmed the ministerial nomination of Abbas Balarabe from Kaduna State, whose name was forwarded by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in replacement for the ex-Kaduna Governor Nasiru El-Rufai, that said that never will Christian become a governor in that particular state, whose nomination was rejected by the Senate. The Senate also confirmed the ministerial nomination of a 37-year-old Dr. Jamila Ibrahim from Kwara State and a 34-year-old Ayodele Olawande from Ondo State. However, after the screening of Ibrahim, who took the podium first, the session was thrown into pandemonium during the screening of Balarabe, who fainted on the podium shortly after introducing himself to the Senate. Balarabe had just finished sharing the experience track record with the senators when the incident occurred about 15 minutes into the screening session. The Senator Sunday Katkun from Kaduna State South Senator was on his feet making submission in support of Balarabe nomination when the nominee suddenly collapsed. But the Senate President Godwin Akpabio was shouting, "Give him sugar and water." Akpabio also instructed journalists and camera to stop the filming to leave the chamber as well. After regaining his strength and composure, the nominee pleaded with the Senate to allow him to continue with the session, but he was told to attend to his health. The senator resumed for the 5-minute break to the screening the third nominee and the 3 additional as well. Meanwhile, the spokesperson for the Senate, Yemi Adaramodu, explained that the Senate went on to confirm Balarabe, with notwithstanding that he fainted after passing all the security as well. So that happened. But again, a journalist died of a cardiac arrest. Meanwhile, the tragedy struck on Wednesday as a senior correspondent of the Tribune newspaper, Tijani Adeyemi, may so rest in peace, died of a cardiac arrest in one of the National Assembly shuttle bus as well.
Oh, wow. Well, may he so rest in perfect peace. And we hope that this minister nominee is also doing very, very well. Listen to Star Radio UK 11:33 the time. Let's touch on one other story and then I'll let Yomi to continue. Now, yesterday we were talking about Naira Marley's arrest, and then now Sam Larry has also been apprehended as well over Mohbad's death. Has the police come out to say anything pertaining to that? What's going on? Because this is like an international thing that is going on. But let me say, Lanre Lamina, good morning to you. I hope you are doing very, very well. Nice to see you once again. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, the case between Naira Marley, the Nigerian police, and the music industry, it's going to go a very long way. I want to get the last name of the individual that have now been declared wanted by the Nigerian police for not turning himself as requested. Yeah, I got the name here. Once again, this is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Naira Marley and Sam Larry are both in the custody of the Nigerian police. They were taken to the court in Yaba, Lagos State, and they've now been told to be apprehended for the next 21 days. I mean, the police wanted 30 days, but they've given them 21 days. But an individual also have now been declared wanted, according to the police public relation officer, Benjamin Odonye. Mohbad, Lagos State Police Command declare prime boy wanted. We see if we can get the image of that by the engineer in just about a few minutes. Who is this individual? Why is he now being declared wanted? Naira Marley and Sam Larry will have also been declared wanted if they have not returned back, in time for the time the police requested them to come back, for interrogation. But it seems the last person refused to make his way to the station as requested, and that is why he has now, and that is the face there, of this individual. I'm going to give you the name. His name is let's first give you the, what we know so far. Following his failure to honor the police invitation successfully sent to him since the commencement of the investigation into the circumstances leading to the death of Mr. Ireoluwa Aloba, aka Mohbad, the Lagos State Police Command hereby declares wanted Owodunni Ibrahim, aka Prime Boy. Ibrahim is approximately 1.68, male, tall, dark complexion with a tribal marks, Yoruba by tribe. His last known address is number 3, Third Power, Okeletu, Ikorodu. If seen, contact the nearest police station or call 0803 688 5727. The Commissioner for Police of Lagos State has also put a 1 million naira to anyone with a, so you can see how serious the death of Mohbad, is really bringing, probably maybe the justice that many Nigerians have been looking for will probably be happening. But again, this is the face of the wanted Owodunni Ibrahim, aka Prime Boy.
Okay, listeners, we hope that, like I said, it's not no underhand dealings there, but justice prevails. May Mohbad receive the justice and his family receive the justice that they need. If these people were culprit in whatever happened to him or capable in whatever happened to him, they need to face the full rigors of the law. If not, well, the right culprit needs to be found. Well, but it's all coming away from Starr.
Breaking news coming from the Supreme Court regarding the case with the federal government again and the rendition kidnap of Nnamdi Kanu. The case was meant to be held, to be for the hearing today, but it seems that case is not going to be coming up as it has now been adjourned again till December. It seems that there's a delay tactics to keep Nnamdi Kanu there for a very long time, just as Tani Olong has been as well. From the news coming right now from the government in exile, Simon Ekpa. Anyway, I won't say much. The time for talking is over. Hope Uzodinma know you are behind this, and I promise I will surely deliver you to him. And the headline coming from the news just about a few minutes as we're still on here. The Supreme Court on Thursday slated December 15 to now deliver its judgment on the appeal that is seeking to compel the federal government to release the embattled leader of the indigenous people of the Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, from detention. So that means that Nnamdi Kanu has what we call 3 months before we can get to know whether he will be released or not. So much response is coming from there. There's a lot of reaction, as you can tell, from the Biafrans, but we will be giving more details during the social media update.
Well, listeners, it's quite an interesting one. And I say it all the time, Africa, boy, oh boy. We say we practicing democracy, the rule of law pertains. But what kind of law? Jungle law? They will tell you that the Constitution, they are defending the Constitution. Really? All right then, listeners, the Starr Radio UK, Mr. Olayomi, Koiki, and offline studios. I'm Archie here in the South Studios. We leave Yomi to bring you the rest of the stories and what is happening on the social media platform. Over to you, Yomi.
Thank you so much. It is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. If I'm right, I think last week, I did ask the question, 4 countries, where would you invest your hard-earned currency? Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, or Uganda? Well, it seems that another worst currency today, according to the World Bank, Nigeria Naira among Africa's worst currency, falls by 40%, according to the World Bank. The Nigerian Naira is among the worst performing currencies in Africa, the World Bank has said. It noted that the currency weakened by nearly 40% against the US dollar since the mid-June devaluation, according to the Global Bank explained in its report titled Africa Pause, an analysis of issues shaping Africa's economic future, October 2023, volume 28. It stated that so far this year, the Nigerian Naira and the Angola Kwazan are among the worst performing currency in the region. These currencies have posted a year-to-date depreciation to nearly 40%. The weakening of the Naira was triggered by the central bank decision to remove the trading restriction on the official market. For the Kwanza, it was the decision of the central bank to stop defending the currency as a result of low oil prices and the great debt as well. Well, other currency that are worse are South Sudan, Burundi, and this is the country that we are competing with. At least we're not doing bad when it comes to other like these. Democratic Republic of Congo, Kenya, Zambia, Ghana. Well, I saw a video of the Ghanaians that are preparing for the protest, I think in December, if I'm right. Rwanda, it noted that the parallel exchange market rates are also compounding. As we speak this morning, the dollar to the Naira is 1,000 and the pounds to Naira is 1,200 and something. In June 2023, the Central Bank of Nigeria directed the Deposit Money Bank to remove the rate cap on the Naira. Well, we hope the current administration and Cardoso, the new CBN governor, will be putting everything in place to bring the Naira back as quickly as possible as we speak right now. Again, the World Bank warns the central bank against forex control and direct lending and subsidy programs. Well, it seems that there's much problem ahead in the business sector with that headline as well. Dirty fuel affecting shipping in Africa, says Abuja MOU, is coming from another headline. Operator push for fresh investment technology amid worsening electricity, and the government lost 847 billion naira to the gas flaring, according to the Nostra. We've talked about the economic crisis. Our state borrowed 46 billion from the bank. An exporter decry extra charges at the export terminal. These are all the business news coming out of Nigeria this morning, and we're going to go straight into one or two more of the headline. Well, let's take you to as the GOC wants soldiers to stay clear of Kogi politics. Next month, November 11, Kogi State goes into another election. Mr. Ali Alabi said, as soldiers, they have no business with partisan politics. As such, anyone who gets involved will face the consequences. The Major General Bamidele Ali Alabi, the General Officer Commander GCO2 GCOC 2nd Division Nigerian Army, yesterday in Ibadan, warned any army personnel in Kogi to stay clear to steer clear of politics. The GCOC gave the warning while addressing officers and men. Well, the same GCOC will probably be same working behind the scene for one of those politicians. They are corrupt, and we know that, and there's so much evidence out there. So it's good when they say this, it's just to clear his own head, but definitely we've seen officers during the election on the 25th helping to remove ballot box and intimidating voters in the country called Nigeria. And as we wind down to the social media at 11:42 this morning, we say good morning. Later on this evening is going to be the property hour. Well, solid mineral sector posed to boost Nigerian revenue as the king in Ile-Ife have now partnered with a Chinese company to provide 50,000 jobs to the Osun indigenes. Well, what are they going to be doing? They'll be investing in agriculture, mechanized, also in lithium, and likewise more other resources. They'll be working on 20,000 hectares of land in Osun State, and the governor and the Kabiyesi or Jaja II believe it's a good interest for the indigene of the state as well. Remember, we talked about the Niger boat mishap. What a very sad situation. I was actually looking at the Zunguru power plant this morning while I woke up around 6:30. We hope that the power plant that have cost about a $1.2 billion, money from the Chinese Exim Bank, will eventually start operating, as we were told this month from the last administration. We're expecting to bring 770 megawatt from that particular power plant. But like I always say, 1.2 billion Zunguru power plant began supply of 700 megawatt to the national grid. Why did I pick on that? I actually saw the former minister of the Minister of Power, Abubakar Liu, on Instagram. I didn't know who he was at the first, and the page popped up. He had some visitors from Nigeria. Most of them end up after working in Nigeria, go back to Saudi Arabia, probably to live there because it's an Islamic country. It's more convenient for them. And I look back to see what he has done, while he was in office. Well, we will have to wait for a few more months, and I'll report back on this, but we just want to put it on record that the Minister of Power has at early this year commission, even though we know that the same was done with the Dangote refinery, only for us to be told that that was still ongoing work. The Minister of Power, as at the time, this is a report back in, some 4 months ago, so it's not a current new update. The Minister of Power, Abubakar Liu, has announced that the long-awaited Zunguru hydroelectric power project has been completed. That word completed is used most of the time by the ministers, the politicians, and is already supplying 700 megawatt of electricity to the national grid. Liu spoke at the farewell party organized to him, and the Minister of State, Godi Jadi, noted that the development will boost power supply nationwide. But we know that the power supply collapsed more than twice last week. This Zunguru hydroelectric power plant is a $1.2 billion investment by the federal government, loan from the Chinese Exim Bank, to expand the base loaded generation in the country, and the most important, to enhance the grid ability to take renewable energy. That is also part of what the Oba of Osun State, the Oba of Yoruba land, told us, that the energy will be supplied, and we expect the Oni Palace to become a renewable one. It's a very sad one that, I'm not sure that here in UK, the King Charles, God bless the King, will be running on a generator to power the whole of Buckingham Palace. But that is what is happening in Ile-Ife. So it seems that with the new partnership with the Chinese, that means the King will now have a 24 hours electricity without worrying too much on the petrol as well. We move straight to the social media, and like I said, the reaction is now coming from the Biafra on the new slated December 15 judgment for the Supreme Court. Let's hear what they are saying. According to Frank 1171689, this is still Star Radio UK, their initial plan was to Kuiper him, to forget him in the dungeon forever, but due to our resilience and determination to restore Biafra, that is why they are confused today. Interna idu aka na uno continue. Not too sure what that means in Igbo. Also, we know the people behind this continue to delay the Igbo politicians. They must feel the same pain. We take 2 more from there. Hope Uzodinma and his cohort have done their worst, must pay for it. This one says, not only hopeless Uzo, Dijo behind. Many of the so-called Igbo elite and politicians follow too. Able Prime Minister Idu Akana Uno needs to be over double this time around. Well, I think when people speak those kind of language, we do that as well. It's a decoded message. You have to understand Igbo to be able to know what they are discussing. Let's go straight to what more is trending. This social media is becoming almost blown apart with the social media on the Bola Tinubu, Chicago. It's still trending. Prime Boy, we talked about, is trending at 43,000, and I'm sure you know why. Is now a wanted individual. So if you have any information, please give it to the Nigerian police. Why Prime Boy might be hiding somewhere. You can hide forever. Alice Madweke was hiding in London for 8 years. We unveiled on Monday on Star Radio UK and the other as well. So the CSU is trending at 84,000 this morning. And like I said, Mazin Amdekano is trending at 19,000 this morning. But the most important thing is Dele Farotim is trending. But when we go back to the word Nigeria this morning, you can tell that many Nigerians are still talking about. We couldn't get the views of Showore in the last few days on this particular case. It will be nice to hear what Showore is saying. 19 hours ago, Showore reminded Nigerians that September 29, he was at the Freedom Park, and he says, and I quote, "When we are all ready for hashtag revolutionary action, everyone that is for the liberation of our space will get on board. Hashtag revolution now." Well, it seems that Nigeria doesn't want revolution. It is only happening on the social media. And I'll leave it on that note. Come back again to you in the studio. It is still the finest African Caribbean radio station in London, the 5th of October, 2023.
Well, listeners, an interesting one there. I was trying to check something as per the Constitution of Nigeria, but I'm not getting it yet. So, but don't you worry during the course of the program if I find out, because I want to find out if perjury is a crime in Nigeria's Constitution. Okay? It's perjury, that is lying under oath. Okay? Yes, if I go to any school and I say, Yomi, I came from Oxford University, and I give Yomi my certificate, and I found out that I'm lying, that is perjury. Okay, so but that does warrant the president's dismissal or resignation. We want to know, or like Africa, as far as anything goes, yes, anything, we will just take it like that. But if tomorrow another person comes and then decide to also file something, I hope that because this is going to be a yardstick. Depending on the decision, the ruling of the court, it could be a yardstick that people will use, and then will be coming out with anything, and you cannot stop them because you cited that example. But listeners, it is Star Radio UK. But Yomi, when it comes to the hydroelectricity that you were talking about, yeah, I'm of the view that why do we go to take a loan of that amount from China, whilst we could have solar that will provide more energy for most people? Why hydro? Because we look at the weather phenomenon now, and we know that at times there is drought. Ghana had a hydro, they still have that Akosombo, but Akosombo, the dam, the Volta River, at times there is drought, and you have only about 2 or 3 of the what do they call it? Those routines. I've forgotten the name of it. That are working. So you do that, and just depending on the weather phenomenon to say that we're going to be powering out. Why don't we we know that sunshine, as for sunshine, whatever you do in Africa or in that part of Africa, it is there. Why not solar?
Well, while I picked up that news, like I said this morning, it was quite, fascinating to then do a bit of background check, like we would have done, before coming out to talk about it. You're quite right. There is a particular project that should have been completed. I don't have the full details here, but I was reading that. And let me take you back again. Though we've taken the loan of 1.2 billion, what the government have done is now to allow private. They've actually given it out now for 30 years to manage, so that they can be able to repay the money back to those under the Bureau of Public. And I'm going back to the Professor Yemi Osibajo, the Vice President. This was February 23rd. At the National Council on Privatization meeting, the Bureau of Public Enterprise presented a memo seeking the council's approval for approval of the mainstream energy solution as the preferred bidder in the concession of the Zunguru hydroelectric power plant. We must keep this. That means that it is no longer in the hands of the government. The government have now given it out again under the Bureau of Public Enterprise, to another privatization to take care of that. You talked about why we are not having, these solar, around, in the northeast as well. Well, like I said, I picked up under a particular comment. Someone talked about another project that should have been completed, but yet that seems to have been stuck somewhere. Like we said, projects like these are very, very important, for the development of the country, if it is well managed, and if only we can return, the money back in what purpose the project was produced. Well, the question has always been that each time this project comes online, then it gets stuck and money is not paid back, and that is why the debt of Nigeria continues to grow. Nigeria is not the only country that borrows, but like I said, we hope that Niger, where this is stated, also we got to factor the insecurity of the terrorism happening in that region. That means terrorists can take advantage of this kind of project as well. So security is also important for the functionality of this particular Zunguru hydroelectric power plant.
Well, I was talking about the turbines that go around, and that is what generates the electricity when it comes to hydro turbines. That's what I wanted to use there. But as whether, like Yomi saying, we're going to get value for money, that is another question. Let's see. But now I've got a perjury thing. In Nigeria, perjury and contempt are one of such crimes against the administration of justice, while contempt of court is the disobedience of court orders in Nigeria. Perjury, the crime of lying under oath, is an offense that derails the fundamental goal of the justice system. It is a charge often threatened but rarely used. So let's see what is going to happen there. That is a bit that I've given to you. You can also do your inquiries, and once we are on tomorrow, we can touch on that. Yami, thank you very much for that wonderful update from Nigeria.
Thank you so much, and we'll be giving the update from Atiku press release at 3 p.m. later on, and that will be coming on stream at 11 o'clock tomorrow. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Okay, listeners, that has been Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you updates from Nigeria, from our North London studios. Well, quite interesting development from Nigeria. As we heard, the Supreme Court has postponed its sitting to hear the case of Nnamdi Kanu's rendition to the country, and the fact that he needs to be set free. But, well, they said, now you know what? We're going to go to December. They'll come, and then the DSS will do it. Then they said we'll postpone it. So maybe 2025, maybe 20. But the president has not said anything so far about it. Maybe him being released will appease the people in the Saudis, and it will, quell a lot of things. I'm talking about the carrot and the cane approach. But it looks like, well, the institutions decide, you know what? We want to be strong, we want to be robust, we want to be breaking everything. But what do you want to know? It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Now, this afternoon or this evening, exactly at 7 o'clock, we're going to be having KB Bossman coming your way with the Property Hour show. And he's going to be having some special guests. And they are special guests that have appeared on Starr Radio UK on BB Clements' show, BB Means Business. And today, on the Property Hour show, they're going to be looking at the Global Real Estate Wealth Summit UK 2023. And appearing on the show will be Bimbolo Saji, who is a regular on the Starr Radio UK, especially on the BB Means Business show. And Dr. Olumide Oladipo Emmanuel, who is the boss man when it comes to this summit. There are going to be lots of people there who are going to be bringing you for that program that's going to be taking place in this month. But wherever you are, we want you to stay glued to your sets because this evening KB will be coming your way with that program. Let's say this commercial and then we move on from there.
Hi guys, have you booked your ticket for Saturday the 14th of October? I will be speaking at event. This is the Global Real Estate Wealth Summit happening here in London, Saturday, 14th of October, literally 11 more days. Have you booked your ticket? Do you want to know how to get started in real estate? Do you want to know where all the off-market deals can be found? Do you want to grow your network, which in turn grow your net worth? Do you want to know how to invest in property with other people's money? Now, I will be talking to you about that. Do you want to know how to be wealthy? Generational wealth through property? Then in that case, you want to join us on the 14th of October. And let me tell you something. The most amazing thing about this summit is the fact that you get 90 days mentorship. Do you understand what that means? Please let me explain it to you. 90 days, that's 3 months with every single speaker. You get to speak to them, you get to pick their brains, you get to run things by them. You literally get handheld by 9 speakers or 8 speakers for a total of 90 days. Guys, if I don't even know that, for me, this is priceless. My investment journey, my property journey literally catapulted. In fact, is that the right word? It literally went to the next level when I got a mentor, and I only had 3 days with that mentor. You are gonna have 90 days, guys. I don't know if you can't take this opportunity, I cannot help you, but I look forward to seeing you on Saturday, the 14th of October 2023 in London. Go to my link and find yourself a way to book that ticket. I'll see you soon. Bye.
The family, the Christian community, friends and loved ones of the late Apostle Mark Nyaku and Mrs. Victoria Nyaku wishes to invite friends and loved ones and all sympathizers to a 1-week observation at the Numa Christian Center, 87 Beddington Lane, Croydon, postcode CR040D. The event will take place on Friday, the 6th of October 2023 from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Buses 466 and 463 ply that route. And if you want to travel on a tram, the Beddington Lane is a stop for you. Also, there's going to be free parking there. For further information, please contact Evelyn on 075 5483 8421, Kojo 073 7592 8737, or Sheila on 079 8358 1818. Come and mourn with us, even as we celebrate the lives of the late Apostle Mark Nyaku and Mrs. Victoria Nyaku. God bless you and see you all there.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and intact? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination intact. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy. Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 4 minutes past the top of the hour, and it is the Thursday edition of the morning show. Still on your screen is the Property Hour show that's going to be taking place this evening with KB Bossman. He'll be hosting Bimbola Osagi and Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. We want you to be part of that show when they bring you the topic, the Global Real Estate Summit that in UK 2023 that's taking place on the 14th of October. So coming Saturday's week, right? Good. Yes. So you want to be part of it? Make sure you join in. There is an offer going on there. So KB Bossman will be telling you more about that when it comes your way tonight at 7 p.m. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Also, when it comes to the funeral of the late Apostle Mark Nyako and Mrs. Victoria Nyako, the sitting is going to be taking place, the 1 week observation is going to be taking place on Friday, exactly at 6 to 9 p.m. at the Newmark Christian Center. So as we have announced all those things, but please take note of them and be part of it. Those of the Christian community, those of you from Ghana as well, the Ghanaian community here in the UK as well, and let's help the family mourn the loss of Reverend Nyako and the wife Victoria Nyako. A very sad accident that took their lives. But it's all Starr Radio UK. Now 6 minutes past the top of the hour. Let me open the lines for you to add your voice to the discussions. Call us on 0208-133-257 or 58. Text or WhatsApp at 0753-966-1744. 0753-966-1744. Twitter handle is a Starr Radio UK and email address is info@starradiouk.com. Whatever you do, make sure your dials are still logged on Starr Radio UK so that you can enjoy the programs that we bring your way. And let your comments, post them on the platforms that we are broadcasting on, and I promise you I'm going to read them all out. Okay, now we got to move on swiftly with the questions that I've asked pertaining to Niger, my country. What do you think is happening there? What do you think is the way forward for them? Should the president be allowed that way? Is it perjury? Or this one is one that will just have a slap on the back of his wrist and then he goes on? Or what is it going to be? And is it setting a bad precedence for others to follow as well? What do you think? So coming away from Starr Radio UK. The religiously affiliated facing attacks, threats in a deeply religious country. It's not been easy. I've faced a lot of challenges. One of them is that people who can't really understand the fact that an entire human being will be beaten, killed, and all stuff. Well, in Liberia, UN concerned by election violence. Liberia once again. Well, there are pictures being shown of people who have died, who have been laid in states, and there is a concern there. The United Nations expressed concern on Wednesday about the violence in Liberia ahead of the 10th October elections and called on all parties to refrain from inciting hatred or bloodshed. We are concerned about reports of election-related violence, the use of language that could amount to hate speech and attacks on journalists in Liberia. The spokesperson for the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Saif Magango, said in a statement, deadly clashes have occurred between supporters of the two main political parties, the Opposition Unity and the ruling Coalition for Democratic Change, the CDC, during the campaign for presidential and parliamentary election in the West African country. Mr. Magango reported that at least 2 people were killed and 20 injured in Lofa County on 29th of September during clashes between former Vice President Joseph Boakai supporters and those of the head of state since the 2018 former football star George Weah. A previous report by the UN and Economic Community of West African States put the death toll at 3. The Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights also reported electoral violence in 3 other counties. Now, our services have also documented 8 attacks on journalists by various political protagonists, 2 of which resulted in injuries. Added Mr. Magango, Liberia experienced civil wars between 1989 and 2003, which left more than 250,000 people killed or dead. So another political time. So what is it with us? If somebody says we don't want you, they don't want you. It's as per your policies that you're putting across that will let or make somebody want you or not want you to be their leader. But we can take that. And you see, I say that and then I come back to that particular place again. The service that you are rendering, how many people are actually benefiting from it? Let me take this example. God is there. There are people who love God. There are people who hate God. People who don't want to know Him at all. But He says it doesn't cause, if you are a religious person, the rain to fall on only the righteous people and leave the unrighteous. It falls on both of us. The righteous, the unrighteous, those who believe, those who don't believe. So if you are a leader, that is how you're supposed to be. But are leaders like that upon here? Has he performed well? Has he actually done anything to actually improve the life of the people of Liberia? If that is what he's done, then let his actions or let his performance speak for himself. And if the opposition are thinking otherwise, they should come out with their policies and let their policies speak for themselves. But when we want to force, then we have a problem. But listeners, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And we are bringing you more in one other story as well from Burkina Faso. The chief of staff of Burkina Faso, Gendarme, was sacked on Wednesday, a week after 4 officers, including 2 of his former close associates, were arrested on suspicion of involvement in a plot against state security. Now, Lieutenant Colonel Evrard Zomda has been replaced as head of the National Gendarme by Lieutenant Colonel Kwagri Natama, according to a presidential decree consulted by us. Now, Lieutenant Colonel Major Ntama Kwagiri of the National Armed Forces has been appointed Chief of Staff of the National Gendarme. said the decree signed by Captain Ibrahim Traore. So it's all coming your way from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Just bear with me. Now, one final story from there as well. Now, lawyers of Senegalese opposition figure Ousmane Sonko have launched a legal counter-offensive at the Supreme Court with 2 appeals. It comes after the appeal launched at the ECOWAS Court of Justice 2 weeks ago. Now, Sonko's 2 appeals with the Senegalese Supreme Court arose from the refusal of the General Directorate of Election to give his representative the form needed to collect citizen sponsorship for the presidential election. The second appeal concerns the dissolution of the opponent's party. Now, Sonko's lawyers consider there was no reason for this, as the political group was not affected by any irregularities and never called for insurrection, according to them. They also believe that a warning should have been issued before the decision to dissolve the group was taken. Both appeals were lodged with Supreme Court on Monday, October 2. On Tuesday, October 3, an appeal was also launched with the tribunal Distance de Ziguinchor in the south of the country. This is to protest against the removal of Sonko from the electoral roll. A declared candidate for the February 2024 presidential election. Now, Ousmane Sonko has been engaged in bitter power struggle with authorities since 2021 when he was placed under investigation in a moral corruption case. You know, interesting. Give a dog a bad name. And that seems to be what, we use all the semantics to be trying to outwit people, because I was looking at the situation where in the Seychelles, an opposition leader has been cited for they said he practicing witchcraft. And I was asking the question, are they a religious country? And if that is what he believes in and is practicing that, what is your concern? You also go and call on your God. But well, that is how the laws pan out back there. If he's done anything illegal, why not? But in Ghana, the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has stated that he will not resign from his position following the demands of the minority NDC caucus on Tuesday, October 3rd. The opposition MPs led a mammoth demonstration in Accra to demand the resignation of the central bank governor and his deputies for mismanaging the bank. But according to an international business website, Central Banking, Dr. Addison says he won't resign. The website quoted the Bank of Ghana governor as saying the demonstrations yesterday was completely unnecessary, adding that neither him nor his deputies will leave their jobs. The minority in parliament have many channels to channel their grievances, Dr. Addison is further quoted by the website. The Bank of Ghana further dismissed claims of the printing money to finance the government's lifestyle as alleged by the minority group. He explained that the Bank of Ghana provided monetary financing during 2020 and 2022 to meet the specific crisis, which he says is legal under the central bank law. Now, touching on the bank's losses recorded in 2021, Dr. Addison said the impairment of the central bank debt holdings that caused the losses in 2022 was a requirement for the International Monetary Fund program. The Bank of Ghana did not forgive any debts. The governor further clarified that the Bank of Ghana chose 2019 as the state date for the new headquarters. This was when the bank was profitable and appropriated some of its profits for the new headquarters, he said. It was not a choice made in the time of crisis, he added. The NDC minority had vowed to deal with the Bank of Ghana for disrespecting the protesters as they were unable to present their petition to him. Where was he? Apparently, he was said to be having a meeting with the IMF or the World Bank. Whichever it is, boy, oh boy. That is all coming away from Star Radio UK. Now, let me touch on this one quickly and then we go on. One of Ghana's prophets, Prophet Odro, the founder and leader of the Alabaster International Ministries, Prophet Kofi Oduro, has warned Parliament against the possible removal of Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare. Now, Prophet Oduro emphasized that any move to oust the IGP from office will be a grave mistake, possibly affecting the integrity of the 2024 polls. Now we have all those videos that have gone on and everything that has gone on there, purporting that the IGP is in cahoots or is a member of the opposition party and therefore will not allow the ruling government to do all the dodgy stuff that parties do to win elections. In a recent sermon, he cautioned against Parliament recommending the removal or taking any adverse action against Dampare. Now, let me use this opportunity to tell the Inquiry and Parliament of Ghana, don't make a mistake to remove that's the IGP, or make a recommendation to the President of Ghana to remove Dr. George Dampare. That will be your worst mistake ever. You know, when President Mahama was the president and when he removed those 3 boys from prison, when he pardoned them, I said this could cost the president his election, and it did. I'm telling the President of Ghana, a Parliament should make a recommendation, because we are gravitating towards the point that Ekufu Dampare should be replaced as Inspector General of Police. You would have tainted the integrity, veracity, and authenticity of the next election, he said. But do they care? Do they really care? Well, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Let's move on to some other stories, because pretty soon we're going to bring the program to a close. Well, still touching on one other story from the African front here as well. Bobby Wine, Ugandan opposition leader Bobby Wine has said he was grabbed by goons and put under house arrest on his return from abroad. Now, the singer-turned politician is the strongest challenger to President Yoweri Museveni, who had held office for almost 40 years. He has been arrested numerous times and has faced several charges, including treason. Now, police denied Wine's arrest, stating instead that he was accompanied home. Did he say that he wanted anyone to accompany him? Well. Wine, a former pop star whose real name is Robert Kyagulanyi, made a failed bid for the presidency in 2021 in a tense election against President Yoweri Museveni 79. The election campaign was marked by crackdown on the opposition, and at least 54 people were killed during anti-government demonstrations. Do we stop democracy totally and have maybe some hard lines, people holding the hammer and the sword over its citizens and just saying that, well, this is how it's going to be? Is that what's supposed to be? Well. Starr Radio UK. Well, some Africans who were heroes who pulled Asawaris from burning wreck have been acknowledged here. When Boubacar Toure and his flatmate heard a sudden thundering crash beside their apartment, they thought it was an earthquake, but then they opened the windows of their kitchen where they were cooking dinner, and one shouted, "A bus has fallen." We ran down to the spot where the bus was on fire, and I heard a woman screaming, my baby." 27-year-old Boubacar, who is from the Gambia, says his eyes heavy with exhaustion. Now, I managed to pull her through the window and then pulled out her son, who was badly burnt but still alive. The bus carrying tourists back to a nearby campsite after a day in the historic center of Venice had been driving along a busy overpass when it suddenly careered off the side on Tuesday evening. It smashed through the barriers and plunged several meters towards a rail track where it burst into flames. At least 21 people died. Of the 15 who were injured, most remain in intensive care. Some of the victims were children, including a baby. Wow. Kudos to them that they were bold enough to embark on that mission to save lives. Okay? Okay. Now, one other story from the U.S. as well. Interim House Speaker evicts 2 senior Democrats from Capitol. Why? Nancy Pelosi and her longtime deputy, Steny Hoyer, have been ordered to leave their workspace in the U.S. Capitol by acting House Speaker Patrick McHenry. Now, both were told that the locks on their offices' doors were will be rekeyed. The evictions come after Kevin McCarthy was removed from the Chamber's Plum post on Tuesday, and Mr. McHenry was appointed in the interim. Mrs. Pelosi, who is not currently in Washington, criticized the decision as a sharp departure from tradition. Now, Republican Congressman Garrett Graves announced on Wednesday that her office will be handed over to Mr. McCarthy. He said it's supposed to belong to the preceding speaker. Now that she and other Democrats have caused there to be an immediate preceding speaker, she has removed herself from that office. That was a decision that Democrats and Speaker Pelosi made in giving that office to McCarthy, he said, according to Axios. Now, Mrs. Pelosi noted that with all the important decisions that the new Republican leadership must address, their first act was to evict her from her office. And sadly, because I am in California to mourn the loss of any pay tribute and pay tribute to my dear friend Diane Feinstein, I'm unable to retrieve my belongings at this time. Miss Feinstein, a California senator who served for more than 3 decades, died aged 90 last week. Her funeral will take place this Thursday, and so she was there for that. But well, they say, you know what? If you manage not to support the former Speaker McCarthy and he has been evicted, then he becomes the recent past Speaker, and therefore that is his office. So Nancy Pelosi out. Well, what do you think about all that? It's quite interesting politics, huh? Yes, quite an interesting one. But it's still Starr Radio UK. The one in the UK front. Now, renters who are chasing homes have jumped from 20 to 25 in 5 months. The average queue of tenants requesting to view a rental property in Britain has lengthened from 20 to 25 in 5 months, figures from Rightmove show. In 2019, there was typically 6 telephone or email requests to see each place. That has risen to 20 by the spring, and 5 months on it's 25. And 5 months on, it's 25. Agents describe the mismatch between demand and supply as just crazy. And that is why we want to invite you to join tonight's program, the Property Hour, where Dr. Olumide Emmanuel and Osagi, yes, they'll be joining you, KB Bossman, and bring you that program. But remember, that event takes place on the 14th of October. That is the main event itself that we'll be talking about tonight on the program with KB Bossman. So make a date with them. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Now, no new compensation for pain of people affected by scrapped rail route, that is a HS2. Now, people who lost their homes and firms along the scrapped northern route of the HS2 rail link will not get any compensation, Transport Secretary Mark Harper has said. Those people have already been paid for their properties, he said, but some farmers affected by the HS2 route say they will be compensated. John Barnes, who had his family farm compulsory purchase, said the government has put a lot of people through a lot of pain and anguish. The government has spent more than £423 million on buying hundreds of properties and lands for now scrapped Birmingham to Manchester leg of the route. Mr. Harper said that having properties compulsorily purchased was difficult for the people affected, and that they obviously won't be happy about the decision to scrap the route. However, he said those properties were purchased at market value, so they will have been effectively compensated for that. The legal position won't have changed for those people. Well, I seem to agree with him in a way because, well, whatever it is, so if that place was going to be used or it's not more going to be used or anything, you have got nothing to lose. After all, you've been paid, right? Well, maybe you have memories of that place and stuff like that, and they say, well, we're not going to be using that. Those memories will be lost, whatever the situation will be, if you are seeing the train moving through those areas. However, he said that there's no new compensation for that. It is Starr Radio UK. A final story from this point. Nicholas Rossi is to be extradited to the US on rape charges. A Scotland Justice Secretary has confirmed that the extradition of the American fugitive Nicholas Rossi can go ahead. Angela Constance signed the extradition order last week after a court ruled in August there was no legal barrier to Rossi being sent back to the United States to face rape charges. He was arrested on the COVID ward of a Glasgow hospital in December 2021. The 36-year-old has since claimed to be the victim of mistaken identity. The convicted sex offender, who is originally from Rhode Island, said he was an Irish orphan called Arthur Knight. However, last November, Sheriff Norman McFadden ruled that he was Nicholas Rossi and not Arthur Knight, as he repeatedly claimed. The Edinburgh Sheriff Court heard how his fingerprints and distinctive tattoos match those of the fugitive. Oh boy, oh boy. Now, despite the ruling, Rossi maintained he was the victim of mistaken identity and said he had been tattooed while he was lying unconscious in hospital in an attempt to frame him. Who tattooed him? Now, he returned to the court in June this year for his extradition hearing. Authorities in the U.S. have said Rossi was known by several aliases, including Nicholas Alhaverdian. In his extradition ruling, Sheriff McFadden described Rossi as dishonest and deceitful, as he is evasive and manipulative. Mr. Boyd urged the court to refuse extradition of his client or adjourn proceedings to allow fuller investigation of Rossi's mental health. But 3 medical witnesses said Rossi showed no signs of acute mental health, and a GP at Sultan also cast doubt on the state of his health in general. The sheriff ruled that he could be legally extradited to Utah in August, and the Justice Secretary had the final say. He has 2 weeks to appeal the decision. Separately, detectives in Essex want to review Rossi in connection with an allegation of rape dating back to 2017. This man has got too much problems. Boy, oh boy. I say I have problems, but people have got too much. Well, listeners, this one bringing the program to a close. Well, interesting. A campaign using artificial intelligence to impersonate Omar al-Bashir, the former leader of Sudan, has received hundreds of thousands of views on TikTok, adding online confusion to a country torn apart by civil war. And an anonymous account has been posting that says a leaked recording of the ex-president since late August. The channel has posted dozens of clips, but the voice is fake. Bashir, who has been accused of organizing war crimes and was toppled by the military in 2019, hasn't been seen in public for a year and is believed to be seriously ill. He denied the war crimes accusations. But listeners, this is where we bring the program to a close for today. But as I said earlier on, this evening, exactly at 7 p.m., KB Bossman will be coming your way with the Property Hour, and will be hosting Bimbola Osagi and Dr. Olumide. So we want you to make a date with them. The time is exactly 7 p.m. Okay? But before we go, let's take this quick announcement and then we go away. The family, the Christian community, friends and loved ones of the late Apostle Mark Nyaku and Mrs. Victoria Nyaku wishes to invite friends and loved ones and all sympathizers to a 1-week observation at the Numa Christian Center, 87 Beddington Lane, Croydon, postcode CR040D. The event will take place on Friday, the 6th of October, 2023, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Buses 466 and 463 ply that route. And if you want to travel on a tram, Beddington Lane is a stop for you. Also, there's going to be free parking there. For further information, please contact Evelyn on 075 5483 8421. Kojo 073 7592 8737. Or Sheila on 079 8358 1818. Come and mourn with us, even as we celebrate the lives of the late Apostle Mark Nyako and Mrs. Victoria Nyako. God bless you and see you all there.
Hi guys, have you booked your ticket for Saturday the 14th of October? I will be speaking at this event. This is the Global Real Estate Wealth Summit happening here in London, Saturday 14th of October, literally 11 more days. Have you booked your ticket? Do you want to know how to get started in real estate? Do you want to know where all the off-market deals can be found? Do you want to grow your network, which in turn grow your net worth? Do you want to know how to invest in property with other people's money? Now, I will be talking to you about that. Do you want to know how to be wealthy? Generational wealth through property? Then in that case, you want to join us on the 14th of October. And let me tell you something. The most amazing thing about this summit is the fact that you get 90 days mentorship. Do you understand what that means? Please let me explain it to you. 90 days, that's 3 months with every single speaker. You get to speak to them, you get to pick their brains, you get to run things by them. You literally get handheld by 9 speakers or 8 speakers for a total of 90 days. Guys, if I don't even know that, for me, this is priceless. My investment journey, my property journey literally catapulted. In fact, is that the right word? It literally went to the next level when I got a mentor, and I only had 3 days with that mentor. You are gonna have 90 days, guys. I don't know, if you can't take this opportunity, I cannot help you, but I look forward to seeing you on Saturday the 14th of October 2023 in London. Go to my link and find yourself a way to book that ticket. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Well, listeners, let me say thank you very much for you joining us today. This is where I bring the program to a close for today. But I sign out with this song from Kofi Boham, and it says Broken Pencil. So whatever it is, your situation that you might be going through, I want to assure you, don't throw in the towel. Keep on keeping on, because there are good times ahead. At times, yours will come tomorrow, maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe a year, maybe years. But keep on keeping on. After all, broken pencils still right. When that song ends and you don't hear from me, then it's been me, Archie, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, and my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy, saying have a top of the day and see you all tomorrow. And see you later on the Property Hour show with KB Bossman. Bye-bye for now.
To the broken, don't get discouraged. I see you fighting all the demons in your life that have wreaked heavy carnage. I know you think that your dreams and everything that you hope for seem to be late. Yeah, looks like your problems don't seem to go nowhere. Just take a deep breath. People talk about you, it's got you feeling down and really stressed. Don't tell me you don't know the trouble that I've been going through. You self don't know, see the same thing they go through. Me self,